Hi everyone, sorry I haven't posted any videos for a while. I just moved house, as some of you might have seen in my other social media. I only just unpacked my mic and my tripod because I couldn't find them. I couldn't find the right box. I did this sort of poll on Twitter to see what video you wanted next, and most of you said book recommendations. So I have you some winter reads. Ding dong ding dong dong, it's the song. Ding dong dong dong, caravan seems to hear birds of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound. Oh, hill and dale town. Well, these are the two books I'm reading at the moment. I tend to read more than one book at once. It's like flipping channels on TV. This first one was sent to me by Craig Russell. And it's an awesome advance proof copy. There's no Jekyll, it's only Hyde, and it's an awesome retelling. Not retelling, it's kind of like an exploration of the origins of the Jekyll and Mr. Hyde novel. It's super gothic and it's set in Edinburgh, Victorian Edinburgh. So if you miss Frey and McGray, you can check Mr. Russell's excellent book. This one's out in February 2021. It's still a winter read. But in the meantime, Craig Russell also wrote this amazing gothic book called The Devil Aspect, which is set in Prague, just on the brink of World War II. And there is a mental institution in it was back then Czechoslovakia. It's an amazing book, and the ending is just amazing. So I definitely recommend The Devil Aspect by Craig Russell for a spooky Christmas read. The other book I'm reading right now is Val McDermid's Christmas is Murder. This is a collection of short stories. Val McDermid doesn't need any introductions. She's amazing in everything she does. These are very short, bite-sized Christmassy stories. They're not all Christmassy, so you can even give these to your sour uncle who hates Christmas and he'll be happy about it. There's I particularly liked this short story she wrote about Sherlock Holmes, and it's called Holmes for Christmas. I don't want to give out the twist. You can sort of see what the twist is going to be like halfway through the story, but you still want to see how it develops, and that's my favorite story so far in this collection. And the cover is awesome, so you can actually I should show it in color. Perfect for a Christmas present. Now, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without a few classics, and especially without some Agatha Christie. This is my favorite Agatha Christie ever, and I think I've said it before. This has the best twist Agatha Christie ever came up with. Can't see it coming, but once everything is revealed, you're like, yes, everything makes sense. And how the hell I didn't see that? It's based on a true story, which Agatha Christie just intertwined really, really well with her Miss Marple. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what that story is. I'd recommend you read the book and then search it on Wikipedia, and you can see how almost everything is based on real life, which makes it even more of my favorite. There's an awesome adaptation of The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side with Elizabeth Taylor and Angela Lansbury. The whole story is about this Hollywood actress who moves into Miss Marple's town, and there's a murder during this cocktail party that she throws. So Elizabeth Taylor is that actress, a kind of a wealthy has-been, and she still cannot quite come to terms with the fact that she's not that young anymore, and the studios don't want her anymore, quite unfairly. But yeah, that adaptation with Angela Lansbury as Miss Marple and Elizabeth Taylor, it's amazing. Another classic which I love, and I think it's very good for these slightly boozy evenings in winter, is called Cocktail Time by P.G. Wodehouse. This is my favorite P.G. Wodehouse book. I love him. He's an amazing comedy writer. He started all this comedy of manners sort of genre, and a lot of Frey's very posh, foppish attitudes and dialogues are based on P.G. Woodhouse's style. You look white and shaken, like a dry martini. In Cocktail Time, there's this lord that he sort of bets that he can write a very sassy, spicy, lewd novel, which he does, and it's called Cocktail Time. But then he has to, he runs for Congress or something like that. So he can't publicly admit that he wrote such a sassy book, because it becomes a huge scandal. So there's a whole load of intrigue. He gets blackmailed, and then his nephew gets involved. It's an amazing plot. It's like reading an episode of Frasier mixed with a bit of Downton Abbey-esque dialogue and humor. And also it features my one of the most brilliant recurring characters by P.G. Woodhouse, who's Lord Ickenham, or Uncle Freddie, who just manipulates everyone throughout the book. And I love that character. So I definitely recommend Cocktail Time, or any P.G. Woodhouse novel, actually. My next one. So this one's not a Christmassy book at all. It's Robots and Empire by Isaac Asimov. It's kind of like a prequel to his Foundation series, but he wrote it many years later. He wrote it in 1986, I believe. This book has so many echoes in today's life, pandemic-wise. In this book, there's this race of humans. They're the first ones to colonize space, so that their lifespans are like 350 years on average. They never quite say if it's genetically enhanced or through technology. But anyway, they have to have these very long lifespans in order to travel across space before the hyper jump is invented. So they come to look down at the rest of humanity. They're all about low population and high quality of living. When I say they rely on low population, it's extremely low population. They have entire planets with like 10,000 inhabitants. Each person has like their own farm, but each farm is like the size of a small country. And they don't even have direct contact with, like physical contact with each other, sometimes just a few times in their lives. So they become quite wary of germs. And they have to wear masks, and they have to wear gloves everywhere, and they don't want to go into crowds. I read this book like 10 years ago, and yeah, it's a bit spooky how Asimov got that so right. This is a very clever novel. This is kind of like the missing link in all of the Isaac Asimov's world or canon. A few spoilers. Well, no, I shouldn't give you spoilers. It explains a lot of how the world, the universe changed from the early few. Well, I just ruined that take, and it was awesome. There's a twist at the end, and Isaac Asimov was great at twists. I don't want to give it away, but if you're a fan of Isaac Asimov and you read that twist, then you'll be like, oh my god, yes, his whole universe makes sense. Moving off swiftly, for the like 3 people watching this who don't know the C.J. Sansom series, I really recommend it. My favorite actually is Dark Fire, which is the second in the series, but I couldn't find it because, again, I haven't unpacked yet. Dissolution is the first in the series. It's a very good book to read at Christmas time, because it's all set in this very remote monastery during winter time, and it features one of my favorite historical fiction detectives, Shardlake. He's a hunchback detective in the times of Henry VIII, and he's awesome. In this book, he has to go to this monastery in Scansey in Sussex, when Henry VIII is dissolving all the religious orders, and he has to investigate the previous commissioner's death. So the man who was in charge of disbanding the whole monastery is murdered, and obviously everyone in the monastery, all the monks are suspects, and there are loads of interests there. It's super atmospheric. It's all in winter time, and everyone is really cold all the time, which I just find it really cozy to read when it's also miserable outside. And I'm going to end with a French book. Didn't find my copy in English, I only found the one in Spanish. In Spanish is Los Reyes Malditos by Maurice Dron, or however you pronounce that, Maurice Dron. This is a series of 6 books. They're all very short. And this is one of the books, one of the series that inspired J.R.R. Martin to write Game of Thrones. It has all the Game of Thrones intrigue and larger-than-life characters. There's this attempt at forgery of medieval documents, which is amazing. There's a bit of British history as well in one of the books, where the 2 royal families interconnect. The whole series kicks off when one of the prince's wives has an affair. So that puts in doubt the legitimacy of her children. No DNA back then. So when the king dies, by the way, the scene where he dies is awesome. It's at the end of the first book. It's a hunting scene in the middle of winter, which inspired my last recommendation, which I'm going to tell you in a minute. And yeah, the king dies, and there's no clear heir. That in effect started the 100 Years' War. And as I said, they're very short, readable books, perfect with a glass of mulled wine and a mince pie. And of course, my last recommendation is the Frey and McGray short story, The Hunt, which is my Frey and McGray Christmas special. It's free, and I'm going to put the link here. Many of you will have read it. It's also available in Spanish, so I'll also put a link there. So that's it. These are my recommendations for winter reads. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you will enjoy them. I hope you have a very nice Christmas. Like many of you, I won't be spending it with my family, physically at least. It's not the first time I spend a Christmas away, and hard as you might think it is, it's really not that bad. I think we will all have plenty of chances to meet again and to comment about books face to face. In the meantime, be safe. Remember, we are all here for you. Have a jolly good time, and I will see you hopefully next year, or even sooner online. And I just realized there's glitter on the lens. Anyway, it's Christmas.